So what is the resurrection all about? Resurrection is not, therefore, about bodies coming out of the ground. Rather, it is about individuals coming out of a body of sin into a body of righteousness. That body of righteousness is Christ and is also called the spiritual body in Scripture. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 43, as well as Ephesians 1, 22 and 23. Now, how is this the case? It's because Christ said, I am the resurrection and the life. Do we really get that? I am the resurrection and the life. Christ is telling us that whatever resurrection is, that's what he is. And whatever he is the resurrection. That's it. No more and no less. Christ is for all who will accept him, the resurrection and the life. He was the hope of glory about to be revealed in the first century. Colossians chapter 1 and verse 27. In other words, what I'm saying is resurrection is not Christ plus a body that you get out of the ground or that transforms. Resurrection is Christ. And that's it. To be in him is to be raised. And thus Paul says, awake to righteousness and do not sin, for some do not have the knowledge of God. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 34. Now, where did people ever get the idea that the end times resurrection is about physical bodies rising out of a tomb? From tradition, from creeds, from ignorance, from the coattails of their fathers? Certainly not from the Bible. Neither faithful Old Testament saints or the apostles ever entertained such a notion. Yet it is the popular belief today. Christ, however, is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone who believes. In other words, God made him to be the Lord our righteousness. Now compare what's stated in Romans 10:4 with John chapter 11, verses 25 and verse 26. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And he who lives and believes in me shall never die. That's why he affirmed in John chapter 8, verses 51 and 52, that if a man keep my saying, if a man keeps my words, if a man obeys my words, if a man lives by faith, he shall never see death. Well, he could not be talking about physical death because, as the Jews stated, Abraham was dead. Christ was about to die, and the apostles and all the Christians who lived in the first century died, and all of those who have lived and died up to this point would fall into the category of dying a physical death. However, the death that Jesus is talking about is the death that is a result of sin. He said, if you die in your sin where I am, you cannot come. And so those who refuse to accept Christ would die in unrighteousness, would die in sin, and therefore would not arise in his righteousness. But those who died in faith would arise in righteousness. And that's what 1 Corinthians 15 and the resurrection is all about. The resurrection of eschatology is the result of faith or belief, not of coming out of a physical grave.